Do you do any kind of speaking for your business? Maybe you're trying to grow your business, or maybe you're a professional speaker. No matter how you use speaking in your business, you know that you need the right resources to really showcase your brand properly. And I think this is even more important if you're trying to present yourself to potential speaking gig bookers and hosts of events. You need a professional image that wows them and leaves a lasting impression so they want to pick you, right? Well, this is a really great episode because we're going to dig into what you can do, some things to really help you have a better brand presence when you speak. Hi, it's Melanie Benson here. I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And this weekly show is all about how to replace the overwhelm and good enough results by implementing a few key strategies that will really help you catapult exponentially your impact, your profits, and one of my favorites, your free time, so that you can do more of what you love. And my guest is someone that I've gotten to know through one of the communities I'm active in, the Women Speakers Association. And when I was learning about her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to come on the show. Let me introduce to you Alicia White. And Alicia is a speaker, branding coach, and founder of a very valuable tool we can all benefit from, speakersheets.com. and Back of the Room Productions. Now, Alicia, and this is what I love about her, she's really passionate about giving you stellar marketing tools that get you on stage and powerful products that give your message legs long after you leave the stage. I love that. That's great. You're already showcasing your brilliance for us. So, hi, Alicia. I'm so glad that, our community of women speakers has brought us together and that you're going to be here today to share some great tips in so that we can learn and grow with you from some of the things you've learned along the way. So, hello.
Hi, Melanie. Thank you so much. I can't imagine what I would do without speakers because I have so much information to give.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for you for allowing me to give the information, to share it. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And in my experience, I've worked, as you know, we've talked about this, I worked with speakers as part of the work I do because I've been working with entrepreneurs for so long, and really we found that speaking is one of the best ways to boost your visibility, to be able to get in front of a target audience that you might not find on your own, as well as oftentimes make sales that you might not make otherwise. And at a bare minimum, it's a great lead generator.
It absolutely is. And if I can share a little story about
Sure.
public speaking. Okay, so when I started out, I was just a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very good friend, Tanya Hoffman, who started the Public Speakers Association, asking me to be a part of it. I said, oh, no, I don't want to be a public speaker. I'm just a graphic designer. Little did I know that I would love public speaking.
It's addictive.
It really is. And I'm more than just a graphic designer. So
yeah, so we were learning that about you. But, the graphic designer sure is a great platform to leap into what you do. And, this is a great opportunity. I'd like to just kind of get to know a little bit about how did you make that leap? You're a graphic designer and you're doing, these image projects and branding probably and things on that dimension. And now you're building a whole business that specializes in supporting speakers, not just in their brand presencing through print, but even in strategy and how to really be able to get more legs, as you call it, in the room they're speaking.
One of the things that I found, I went to San Diego. This is where the light bulb moment happened, the big aha. I went to San Diego for 2 days and to a 2-day seminar, and there was an internationally known sales coach giving valuable information. I mean, tons of information. Over 2 days, I wrote about 20 pages of notes. But he did something that I didn't quite understand. And yes, I've been designing for small business owners and different retail stores and things of that nature and hospitals, but I realized he didn't have anything at the back of the room. Mm. He had a $300 product on day one, a $400 product on day two, but I wasn't ready to invest that. And when I left the seminar, he did not have my name, my email address, or a phone number. He missed an opportunity to generate a lead from me. And all he had to do was put something out for $100, $20, free. I would have signed something for free. So when I learned that an international speaker who is a multi-million dollar, millionaire is leaving money on the table, I said, boom, I've got to do something for these people. And on the flight home from San Diego to Dallas, I wrote out my entire business plan for Back of the Room Productions.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I was so inspired.
I had my own experience of that. Not to go into the business, but my very first, actually it was my second event that I held, because I used to do a lot of 3-day events. I had a group of people come up to me and say, Melanie, you don't have anything in the back of the room for us to buy. It's just your coaching program. And what if I want, you've been talking about these great tools and resources and I want to take them home with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great point. Because I didn't have those like shorter, smaller products either at that time. And my event was the same as my 290 products. So it was a good learning, and I think it's a good learning for all of us. So let's talk about that a little bit more, where you have this system and you have these great tools that help speakers. What do you think is the biggest problem that speakers and people who use speaking are facing that you can help them with?
It's the presence. It's that presence at the back of the room, especially with speakers who are just beginning or who don't have a product. They don't know what to sell. And I tell them there's one thing you must have with you wherever you go, and that's order form. And they say, but I have nothing to sell, Alicia. And I say, yes, you do. You have expertise and you have time. At the very minimum, offer a 30-minute free consultation. Offer the coaching program. Next, for the lead gen, generate a checklist. People love checklists. They like to check things off. So that's where I would begin. And so the speakers who do have product, a lot of times they don't know that they can develop workbooks that we take their message and then we hand it off to the client to work through exercises, which leads them to questions. And it's a good thing to have your clients, your prospects, asking questions because they need to come to you for the answers.
Yeah, I like that. And you're right, because if you're getting them to ask the right questions, it really helps illuminate where their challenges are. And I love that. I never thought about having a little checklist that you give out. So I want to ask you a question that I know comes up a lot for speakers and people that are really learning how to create a good presence in the room. And I think this in itself becomes a sticky point for them. And they think, well, like, what if I'm not allowed to say anything from the front of the room about my offers, which I think a lot of people face, especially if you're being paid to speak or it's what's called a no-pitch room, which I love, by the way. I think it's a great way to create flow for the audience, but then it gets a little sticky for the speaker.
What you can do is at the end, you do two things. If you have a PowerPoint slide, which I recommend you at least have one slide, and that has your face, contact information on there, and have that up throughout your entire presentation. Even if you don't have one thing up there promoting your brand and your contact, and then say at the end of your speech, I will be at the back of the room to answer your questions, and I want to get to know you. I mean, it's simple, effective, and you want to build your speech. You want to create your speech so that it does have that powerful motivator that says, oh my gosh, she just said something, or he just said something that resonated with me. Yeah, I need to go speak to that person at the back of the room.
Yeah, I so agree. And I think just having some way to connect with people, if you can't make an offer, is great. I love, having the table at the back of the room, but you got to get them there.
You have to get them there, and if you're allowed to say, I have my free checklist, then put that in there if you can. And you don't want to surprise your event planner with that, so ask for permission. Sure. I know people say ask forgiveness. No, I say ask permission so that you'll be invited back.
I was going to say that's the best way to not get invited back is to blow the deal that you have. Yeah, I've seen that happen. I also want to talk about one-sheets for a minute because, this show's all about optimizing, and I'm really big on having systems and ways in which you can automate the flow of being asked to speak. to me, having a great one sheet and a process of how you get that to your potential host or the people booking you can make or break. Like, it's the first impression, right, that they're having of you, and how you're going to be responsive or not, and how, be organized or whatever. Let's talk a little bit about some things that people need to optimize in that process, or in their speaker one sheet, and what it is. Like, maybe we should start with what is that, so if someone's not familiar.
I give this talk all the time, and I love telling people a lot of things. Not that I'm opinionated or anything.
No,
but,
we should never do that. You are an expert. I mean,
I'm an expert. There are some must-have elements for your speaker sheet, and the most important one, well, actually there's two. The two most important ones, of course, having your speaking topic and having that title so that it really captures people's attention. But the other thing is, what value are you giving the audience? You're not necessarily attaching your business tagline. For example, I have a business and I speak for my business. I'm not a motivational speaker. I speak for business development. My tagline for Back of the Room Productions is powerful products to promote your message. I'm going to have a different value statement, and I'm still working on mine. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I'm going to create, and I want you to create, a value statement that's about the same length as a tagline, so about less than 8 words or so, that describe the value that you're giving the audience, because the first thing the event planner is going to look for is, what are you going to do for my audience? So
and that's key, because oftentimes we're making it not clear what the benefit of that talk is to the audience. It's like, okay, well, I don't get it. Next speaker, moving on.
If you don't capture those, because they're looking through hundreds, and that's why it needs to look professional. That's why you need to have your brand consistent with everything else that you do, and your message needs to be congruent with who you are and what you provide. So it's not necessary to put a lot of fancy words in there. Be direct, be succinct on what it is that you provide, because the event planners, they don't have time to guess.
So you actually help people create these and create them in a very branded and professional looking manner. Is it a website? Are you trying to get a web page up, or is it a Word document, or maybe a PDF, or do you need to print it? What's the best way to optimize that tool and make sure it's really going to make the impact you want?
Well, as you know, a speaker sheet is to help you get booked for an engagement. It's to highlight your speaking experience, perhaps your delivery style, and then the titles, the topics that you're going to speak on, and the takeaways that your audience is going to get. So that's a speaker sheet in a nutshell. You can have it in a printed format, and you can mail those out with a media packet or alone. You can also have it digitally as a PDF file. So when I create a speaker sheet for a client, I use industry software called Adobe InDesign, but then I provide you with a high-resolution PDF so that you can take it and get it printed at a vendor of your choice, or I can print them for you. Or you can send it as a digital file through email, but most importantly, you want to put that on your website. You want to have, you also want to take the copy that's in that file and put it on your website so that you have keywords. An event planner is going to go to your website eventually, and when they get there, they're going to read everything about you. Well, here's the thing. If you don't have that PDF available or JPEG for them to download and print off, they forgot about you. If they have a stack of printed speaker sheets, one sheets, and yours isn't available to be printed off, then you're missing out. So I help get you going on that.
Yeah, and that, to me, I get asked that question a lot, and I can help my clients do this to some degree, but when you really want to get out and get more speaking gigs, you really need a professional, branded, high, like you said, a high-resolution version of this that's not just something you kind of throw together on Word. And I'm glad that you provide that service for people, because I get asked this all the time. Melanie, like, I need to get a professional one sheet. Where should I go? I'm like, I don't know. But now I do know. We've got Alicia. Oops. And, I think as a speaker and someone who, you're looking to get more speaking gigs, what is like something that people often miss that can work against them? Do you see like a big mistake or something that people, or maybe is in their blind spot, they don't realize they're not doing it properly and it affects them?
That's a great question. And I could ponder on that and give you a whole bunch of tips. But the one thing that I could definitely have to say is that consistency and that professionalism, the consistency from ensuring that you're using the same headshot. Oh my gosh, and I could talk about headshots all day.
Yeah. And one that actually looks like you, right?
One that actually looks like you, where you haven't had all your wrinkles, and we all have them at a certain age.
Exactly.
You want to show that you have wrinkles, or that you're wearing glasses, or that you have gray hair, and you want your professional headshot to represent who you are, because the last thing you want to do is show up at an event and not look like who the planner thought you were going to look like.
Exactly. It's funny, I've been around this industry for so long, so I've seen it all, and I've had those situations where I kept seeing someone's picture, and I would connect with them online or via, whatever, their website, and then I would actually meet them in person. I'm like, oh, hello, who are you? And they're like, oh my God, you don't even look the same. And I get that too. I get people say that I don't look like my picture, but I feel like it's still a good picture. It's just that my hair looks different, right? Or, I'm just, wearing different clothes and it makes me look different. It doesn't not look like me.
Well, and I have the same problem. I was a redhead last year. Now I'm blonde, and I redid all of my business cards and my banner. Now I have to redo them again. But I'm okay with that because I'm having more fun as a blonde.
Alicia, I'm going to say, though, it seems a lot simpler just to make your hair red again.
I know, right?
Come on. Talk about optimizing time. No,
I know.
Well, speaking of optimizing time, I actually want to shift into learning a little bit more about you and how you've got where you are today. And I actually feel like before that I think it's really valuable as an entrepreneur to hear what's up for other entrepreneurs, what their challenges are, what they've learned that's made them stronger. Because sometimes it's one great idea that can transform a struggle or a frustration or give you an opportunity when you're in the thick of trying to grow your business. So I'd like to know for you, like, what would you say has been one of your biggest challenges as you've grown and evolved to where you are today?
I tell you, Melanie, one of the things that I wish I had done early on is document my processes.
Ah,
yeah. And it's really interesting because I come back from a medical career before I became a graphic designer, and I wrote protocols for the department. And when I started as a graphic designer on my own in 2004, I wrote the procedures. But then in 2008, 2009, when the economy had a downturn, I didn't have as many clients, and so I kind of got out of practice of using those protocols. And then when I started working with speakers and business owners again, I started growing and growing, and I do feel behind because I'm not following those processes, which would streamline my work and make things a little bit more organized. You don't want to see my desk right now.
Well, I probably like my desk right now. But, you bring up a really good point, and I got to say this is huge. It took me a long time to get systems in place. And partly is because we're moving at the speed of light, and it's just, what do I need to get done next? And partially it's because I know that we all recognize the value of that system until something is breaking down, we're wasting money, we're wasting time, and all of a sudden we're like, there's a better way to do this.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the system that really, when you got it in place, it really helped you optimize either your time or your cash flow or, your sanity?
Yeah. Well, because I tend to spend much time working on a project because, I'm dealing with the perfectionism syndrome. Who doesn't? And because I do recognize that I probably spend more time than I should on certain tasks, I'll set a timer every 15 minutes, and then I say, okay, in 15 minutes, I'm done. But if I need to go 5 more, I allow myself that. but I just start that clock over again. Another thing that I do, I don't know if you'll be able to see this clearly, but I use job jackets. And this is just a simple plastic folder, and I have my timesheet in here, and I actually literally for every client project I write down the amount of time. This has helped me determine where I'm wasting time. Is it because I'm trying to find the perfect image and the client really doesn't care if it's a black box or a blue box, and I'm trying to find the perfect blue box? So I use those strategies to really keep me focused on that project and not waste that time.
I love that. I'm going to share one that worked for me because, again, people would be mind blown if they knew like how much I had to grow and evolve to be successful in business, because I did not start my business with all of these awareness. One of the things was organizing, because we're going a million miles an hour, making all these new decisions. I realized when we were designing programs that we actually, my team would get confused and waste hours looking for stuff, right? So one of the things that we started doing, and I actually realized, like, we need to have a document that lives somewhere that has every link, every decision we're making about this program. We use Infusionsoft to track, to set and manage our programs and our sales. So we had to have every Infusionsoft tag and campaign name and literally, what does the program include, all in one place. And it used to live in Dropbox, but we recently moved it to Google Drive because I'm falling in love with Google Drive as a tool.
Yeah, I like it.
But that way everybody can interact in it and it won't create multiple versions. And I love it. And my team now, like, it's funny, I have to train my team, like, go to that document and make sure it's updated. But now that we're not searching for information, having to scour through pages and pages and pages in our website looking for, okay, which version was this? It just keeps things really simple, really easy, and it's just a technique or a system, if you will, to keep everybody organized and on track and not wasting time. Really simple. Took us forever to figure out to do it.
I actually like that, Melanie, and you also brought up another important point that right now I do have files in Dropbox, in Google Drive, and some other thing. I need to just wipe that out and start with, and I like Google Drive also, and have all the files there. But I like how you document, what it is and where it's located. That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's a great, and now we use a, I know I'm going deep, but just one other little tip around this is we use a project planning tool that allows us to attach the Google document to it, so that when I assign a task, or my program manager assigns a task, or someone else on the team does, we can refer back to the Google document where everything lives, so that we don't have to create another version of it somewhere else. So it's really become quite a seamless process. It saves so much time and frustration for someone to go look for something that someone else created and now they can't find it.
Okay. You're going to have to share that with me.
Yeah, we got to go deeper. Yeah, and it's funny, I just think systems now, my brain just processes that way.
Yeah.
Because when you're optimizing, and as an optimizer, it's how do I get something done in the fastest way possible while maximizing the impact of this tool. So my brain's just kind of clicked into that gear.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about that stuff, share little tips with people.
It is.
Yeah, so is there anything else that you found that has really helped you get your business to grow at the level it is today?
If you ask that question to 10 people, I guarantee 7 people would say the same thing. Relationships. Building key relationships with people who understand your value, like you, and, don't mind reciprocating or finding mutually beneficial ways to support you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really big on reciprocation. When someone is able to assist me, support me in some way, I want to give back, and I usually give it back tenfold. But it's building those relationships that have been so important to me. And I do want to caution on one thing, because I read this the other day, and it made perfect sense. The problem we have with having a lot of information and feedback coming from several sources, you literally have to weed through the ones that are a good fit for you. I do know a couple of years ago, I was taking in everybody's feedback, and I was trying to apply it in some way. And finally, a year later,
Yeah.
missing some hair and going crazy, I realized, no, that one doesn't work for me. And thank you for the advice, but that one doesn't work for me. It's okay to say it doesn't work, but thank you.
Yeah, good advice, because a lot of people, especially if we're bright, shiny object people,
Yeah,
tend to go out and look at a lot of places to take information in, and then it gets overwhelming and you can't really get clear what's the right next step for you.
right.
Yeah, no, tips, I love it. What is something that helps keep you inspired? Is there a mantra or a quote or something? You know, that's what works for me and a lot of people that come on the show, but what helps keeps you inspired on days that you're maybe questioning if you want to continue to do all this?
Right, this is going to sound sappy, but I have an amazing husband.
Aw.
I do. And he's my soulmate. I even have a Coke can that says he's my soulmate. Those Coke cans have
So
yes,
sweet.
soulmate. But anyway, he's an entrepreneur. He started his business. And I see the struggles he goes through, and I see how he overcomes them. And that reminds me that I've overcome every struggle I've gone through. And I'm inspired by him, but I'm also inspired by people like yourself. I mean, look at what you guys have created, what you've created. I want to get there. I mean, people do consider me a category creator because no one's really focused on back of the room products.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to say, yeah, I'm a category creator, and I need to make sure everyone knows that. So that helps to motivate me.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to actually go back to something that you said a minute ago, and I meant to pick this up and run with it, is the idea of connection. And I think sometimes people, when they work from home, they don't really know how to make those connections.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share maybe one or two of the places that connections have flourished for you, even though, because you work out of your home office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I do. And I'd love to hear, I'll share one, but I'll like for you to share one or two first.
I do make a point to get out and network, but
Awesome.
yeah, and it's hard for me. I mean, I'm not an introvert, but I'm also kind of a wallflower, believe it or not. When I get one-on-one with somebody, then my personality just shines through. So I do attempt to network a few times a year, not every week, and I go to events. I can tell you that if you go to an event and you put yourself out there as your authentic self, you're going to make connections. Even if you're shy, people are going to come up to you if you put on a smile. And that's all it takes is a smile and a hello. And then again, Facebook, I did not want to be on Facebook for several years. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I've met so many wonderful people. Again, like you and Jessica Brown of your health team staff. I mean, just amazing people.
You mean Jessica Rhodes, the
Oh,
podcast gal?
it may be.
Yeah. Yes, Jessica Brown is on my team. It could be her.
It was.
Oh,
Jessica
right.
Brown,
Yes,
but
because she's booking. Yes.
been very integral in getting us to this point.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. I would say I do both as well, but I don't go out and network nearly as much as I did in the beginning. But interestingly enough, social media and you said something earlier, being a consistent presence in social media has been wildly successful for me, especially in developing key relationships and opening up speaking opportunities. But the other thing that I find really interesting is the difference between just being, in social media and taking a leadership position where you express that through social media, as I do with Women Speakers Association and what I do with them. It's mind-blowing how that one decision to bring Speaker Chat out into the world and do that each week created so many beautiful, wonderful connections with people I never would have met, and really gave a lot of new levels of opportunity there.
Yeah, isn't it fun finding someone online in a totally different area, like Canada,
right?
And
or Australia or wherever.
Australia, and actually not, you don't necessarily have to collaborate a new business or anything, but to, be able to feed in information and energy to one another and motivate one
Mm-hmm.
another. I love it. I love the social media. And like you said, you have to be consistent
Yep.
out there.
Consistency. Yeah. So what's one thing you're excited about moving forward? Like something that's happening in your business or, maybe a goal or a project you're up to?
I am so excited. I'm going to host a virtual workshop on creating speaker sheets.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I'm defining the details right now. Again, that perfectionism in me just doesn't just say ready, fire, aim. I'm a ready, aim, fire kind of
At least
person.
you know that yourself.
I do. So I'm going to be excited to announce it. That will be announced in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait to put that on. And then I'm also, for the first time in my life, offering VIP coaching days.
Oh,
Woo!
fun. Ew,
I'm
that's
excited.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the URL up for your main site, but why don't you share with everybody where they can find out more about you and, the great speaker resources that you have to share with people.
Oh, thanks for letting me do that. You can always go to speakersheets.com to learn about the speaker sheets and get some information on how they're used. Also, backoftheroomproductions.com. That's where you can learn about products you can use after you get off the stage. But if you really want to know more about me, connect with me on Facebook.
Mm.
I'm at Alicia White 911, Alicia White 911.
Yeah. And if you're here on the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com, we have these links handy for you. And if you're following along on iTunes on the podcast, welcome. You can always come back over to the show page, melaniebensonstrick.com, and find out all the great details and resources and connect with Alicia on her social media presence. She's so much fun, and she's very connected there, and it's great to have that way to connect with somebody. Email sometimes just seems to get so ambiguous and overwhelming. It's nice to have the social media technique to stay connected. All right, as you're listening in to Alicia and I want to invite you to come over to the show page and share something that really popped for you. What was something that you learned or something you can put into action? Because remember, this show is about exposing you to ideas, but it's up to you to go put them into action. And it's not the ideas that make you money and make your business run better. It's the implementation of them. Share with us something that you're going to be able to take away and do differently, or even if it's just an aha moment. We love hearing about it. And Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing a wealth of knowledge in the speaking industry and how to really optimize that experience so you're getting more impact with all the effort that you're putting into being on stage and sharing your message in that way. So, all right, everybody. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.